Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. It's a sunny day out in the forest. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what people meditate for and some flaws with how meditation is approached. Perhaps we'll start with why would a person start meditating at all? Because it's something that does take a lot of time and quite a bit of effort, if done in a dedicated fashion. And to really dive deeply into meditation, a person needs to have a good reason to be meditating at all. So for me, it was because I was an angry person and I didn't want to be. And there were some added benefits that came out of that. But some other things that came out of that is once I stopped being an angry person, I became quite an anxious person. So now I don't have anger covering up my fears, and so instead I just have my fears. So I've been watching a lot of tech videos, and one thing I find they're really good at is breaking things down into specifications, and then user friendliness, and day-to-day use, and then there's customer service. And so I think meditation has so far been kind of touted or preached almost as something magical and mystical, and like a higher power to work towards. And something that I think the traditional Buddhist teachings teach. I don't know, but I think it's a much more realistic point of view of the world, and there's not a lot of, rather than mysticizing the world, it's doing your best to see the world for how it truly is. And that means being curious about the world, asking questions of yourself and of nature, and that means that it's not something mystical or fantastical. It's just part of who you are as a human. If you are a human, you can meditate, but you are your own human, and so that will look particular to you. So for me, meditation had some positive effects and some negative. Some positive was I had a really good memory. I did work through a lot of my anger. That was my main focus. Sorry, I thought I heard someone coming. I get really self-conscious with these videos out in public, and I don't want to disturb anybody. But anyways, so yeah, and it helped me to teach me how to focus and calm my mind down quite a bit. But then some negatives were that I felt like if my mind started racing or got too noisy, because once you start listening to your mind, you can tell when it gets too noisy. And the downside of that is that if you see that as a negative thing, then you will try and suppress it. And so you just start suppressing almost all of your thoughts, or that's what I did. So that's not healthy. So what does a healthy relationship with meditation look like? Well, I don't know. I think the healthiest thing you could do is go live in a monastery. I think that's the best way to live a fulfilling meditative practice, is go become a monk, or if you're thinking of Christian terms, then perhaps a monk or a nun. But yeah, a Buddhist monk or what have you. If you just want to do what you're doing now and kind of move in the direction of being monk-like, that is more difficult, and there's no good option for that I know of, but I will try and give some ideas that will hopefully help a couple people. Okay, so let's see. One of the things that helps, like I've spoken in some of my other videos, is some body meditation. You practice some body meditation, just relaxing your muscles. I would suggest getting a book about body meditation, but just Google or just sit in a chair and just consciously relax your muscles, or focus on something that is painful for you in your body, and try and calm that down. That's a really good one. And then when you come to a stressful situation, you have the tool of knowing how to take a deep breath and relax your muscles, and that will take a lot of that adrenaline out of your system. Another one it's perhaps a good one is one that helps me quite a bit is practice listening. So I do this in the morning before anybody else is awake. It's quiet, or at night before bed when it's also very quiet. And you just listen, and you almost try and hear the sound of the silence in the house, or when someone else is talking and you notice maybe you're thinking your own thoughts, take a second and refocus on what they're saying. So just that refocus of like listening instead of thinking, or again, I guess it would be in a conversation also listening instead of thinking, and giving yourself the opportunity to take a second to think before you respond. Because what I find is people put pressure on themselves to respond right away and talk very quickly. Everybody's in a rush, and then you don't get a good response, you just get a fast response. Another one is conscious listening, compassion. I think changing your perspective is a big one. Practicing being observant, yeah, but not in a Sherlock Holmes sort of way, where you must observe a person and all their details and what they've done that day and deduce something out of it. Not like that. But well, it's hard because this one is a frame of mind. So for example, in front of me there are trees with sunlight on the southwest side, and they're leaning kind of to the northeast, and it's actually quite interesting now that I'm observing it. Anyways, so okay, I took a second to think about it. The best example I can think of is the other day I started writing a story, and then I went out for a beer with my friend, and I was sitting in the bar waiting for him to show up, and I was a little I didn't want to go on my phone, so I made the conscious effort to I think I left my phone on the chair beside me, and I just wanted to observe the kind of the goings on, but I was feeling awkward about it. And then I was like, well, what if I think of it as collecting information about for a story about how a bar kind of feels. And so then I'm like, okay, for the sake of this story, I want to get the feeling of the bar. The bartender's really friendly, the waitress is kind of annoyed. That's the dynamic. She's overworked, she's busy, it makes perfect sense, but she's got a little bit of a short temper going on. You've got your old folk, they're sitting around, they're having their Sunday or their Saturday beer and their meal. They probably do this every week. You've got a little bit of a community vibe going on in this bar. It feels really comfortable here. Why does it feel comfortable? Oh, it's really dark, and there's wood everywhere, dark stained wood. And I didn't observe all that word for word, I just spelled it out. It was almost like a feeling, I just kind of sat and relaxed into my seat, and I just enjoyed the scene unfolding in front of me, like a little story that I was a part of. And that kind of sat me in that moment a little bit. And so then I just had a little pocket of joy watching the pub go by. And when my friend showed up, I was able to carry that into the conversation, and we ended up having a really good talk. But anyways, so just a little being able, just taking a moment to sit and enjoy sit and enjoy the world as it's going by. And you don't have to stop what you're doing necessarily. Well, I guess you do. You don't have to go sit alone by yourself in silence. You can be out in the world enjoying the sunshine, or wherever you are, and just observing and enjoying, for no particular reason, things happening. And so anyways, those are a few ideas, and I hope someone is able to maybe take something out of this, take a load off when they think about meditation and it stresses them out in an ironic way. Maybe this will make it seem more doable. Okay, well, thank you to anybody who watched this. Goodbye.